Hello everyone, welcome back to the Global Alert TV channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today we will take a deep look into one of the most striking developments of the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine has reportedly carried out an unprecedented wave of long-range drone and missile strikes that have rocked 60 strategic Russian energy objects in just 6 weeks, setting what analysts are calling a new record in modern warfare. This operation is not just about military pressure. It carries huge implications for the energy sector, the Russian economy, and the broader geopolitical chessboard. We will carefully explore the story by analyzing it through dimensions like exterior conditions, interior perspectives, performance of Ukraine's strategy, the safety and risk features involved, the unique selling points of this operation, the metaphorical price both sides are paying, and finally a comprehensive conclusion. From the exterior point of view, the situation appears explosive. Russia's massive energy infrastructure has always been seen as one of its most powerful assets and a backbone of its national strength. Ukraine targeting 60 different energy sites in such a short timeframe is extraordinary. These sites include oil refineries, storage facilities, export terminals, and power plants that connect to both civilian and military sectors. The exterior appearance of this campaign is one of boldness and escalation. Ukraine has used a mixture of domestically produced drones and long-range Western-supplied systems, striking hundreds of kilometers inside Russian territory. From the outside, what catches everyone's eye is not only the number of facilities struck but the consistency of these attacks. Every week, Russia has woken up to reports of fires, explosions, and smoke plumes rising from major energy hubs. It signals to the world that Ukraine has found a way to bring the war directly into Russia's industrial heartland, shaking confidence that Moscow can fully defend its own territory. This exterior look, viewed from satellites, reporters, and international observers, is one of repeated firestorms lighting up Russian skies, showing a pattern that is impossible to ignore. The interior perspective, however, is even more fascinating, and here we must dig deep because it reveals the driving forces behind this campaign. Inside Ukraine's strategic planning rooms, officials understand that Russia's war machine relies heavily on energy exports and refining capacity. Oil and gas revenue remains the lifeblood of the Russian economy, funding not only domestic stability but also military operations. By attacking energy objects, Ukraine is applying pressure directly at the source of Moscow's strength. The interior calculations are not just about destruction but about leverage. Every facility hit creates financial strain, disrupts supply chains, and forces Russia to divert resources toward repair, protection, and relocation. Inside Russian society, the effect is also spreading. Citizens who were once distant from the war now find themselves living near smoking refineries or dealing with power shortages. There is a psychological interior blow when people realize the war is not confined to Donbass or Kherson but can reach the industrial neighborhoods of Moscow, Bryansk, or Kaluga. Interior analysts argue that this new campaign is also meant to shift global energy prices, reminding the West that Ukraine has the capacity to influence markets if its support begins to weaken. The interior of this campaign is about strategy, psychology, and financial warfare as much as it is about explosions and damage. It reflects a growing Ukrainian confidence, an interior belief that they can fight Moscow not just on the frontline trenches but deep in the economic arteries of the Russian Federation. When we examine performance, the record speaks loudly. 60 energy objects in 6 weeks means an average of 10 targets per week. This level of operational tempo requires coordination, technological improvement, and consistent intelligence gathering. Ukrainian performance here shows adaptability. Just 2 years ago, Ukraine had no significant long-range strike program. Today, they are able to repeatedly send waves of drones across hundreds of kilometers, penetrating Russian air defenses and striking valuable facilities. Performance is measured not just in the number of targets hit but also in how Russian responses have struggled to stop them. Even with advanced systems like S-400 and Pantsir, Russia has failed to shield its entire vast territory. Ukraine's drones often fly low, in swarms, or with advanced navigation systems that allow them to slip through gaps. Performance is also reflected in cost efficiency. A drone that costs tens of thousands of dollars can destroy facilities worth billions. That asymmetry is crucial. International observers note that this performance demonstrates Ukraine's learning curve. Each attack seems to refine tactics further, creating a cycle of improvement. Russia is forced to expend expensive interceptor missiles, sometimes costing millions each, just to shoot down cheap drones. From the performance angle, Ukraine has scored high marks for innovation, persistence, and results, forcing Russia onto the defensive in a theater once thought untouchable. Safety features in this context are paradoxical. On one side, Ukraine is careful to frame these operations as legitimate acts of self-defense. By targeting energy infrastructure that fuels Russia's military operations, Kyiv argues that it is not indiscriminately harming civilians but strategically degrading war capabilities. Yet, the safety risk remains massive. Energy facilities are volatile, explosions can spread, causing uncontrolled fires. Local populations in Russia face dangers from collapsing infrastructure and chemical exposure. Air traffic safety is another concern, with drones and missiles passing near civilian flight corridors. Ukraine attempts to mitigate some risks by choosing nighttime strikes or focusing on industrial rather than purely residential targets. But the safety environment is fragile. From Russia's perspective, they call these attacks terrorism, warning that civilians are endangered. From Ukraine's perspective, the safety feature is about survival. If they do not strike back, Russia continues to unleash missiles on Ukrainian power plants, hospitals, and neighborhoods. So in the calculus of safety, each side argues justification, but the reality is that energy wars are inherently risky. The entire region is living under heightened safety threats, where fireballs can erupt with little warning. Unique selling points of this campaign are what make it stand apart in global military history. The first selling point is scale. 60 energy objects in such a short span is unprecedented. No modern conflict has seen so many long-range strikes carried out successfully by a nation without a massive air force. The second unique point is innovation. Ukraine is using homegrown technology, proving that it does not need to rely solely on Western deliveries. Small factories, civilian engineers, and improvised innovations have created drones that rival advanced military systems. The third unique point is psychological shock. For decades, Russia projected itself as a fortress, immune from attacks deep inside. Ukraine has shattered that illusion. The fourth selling point is economic impact. Global energy prices have reacted, and markets are alert to every new strike. The fifth point is narrative power. Ukraine has transformed from a victim to an active player that can shape events not only on the battlefield but in the global economy. These unique selling points make the campaign not just a military record but a geopolitical statement. Now we come to the price. And the price is heavy on all sides. For Russia, the price includes billions of dollars in damage, loss of revenue, and growing internal insecurity. The price also includes political embarrassment, as Moscow struggles to explain why its vaunted defenses cannot prevent drones from reaching critical hubs. For Ukraine, the price is retaliation. Russia responds by launching more missile barrages against Ukrainian cities, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. Civilians in both countries pay the price of war escalation, with power outages, fuel shortages, and inflation. On the international level, the price includes destabilization of energy markets, with ripple effects on European electricity bills, Asian fuel costs, and global inflation. There is also the diplomatic price. Some Western partners worry that such deep strikes could escalate the war dangerously, leading to unpredictable consequences. For Ukraine, however, the price is deemed necessary. Without pressure, Russia would continue comfortably funding its aggression. The metaphorical price is a high-stakes gamble, where Ukraine is betting that hitting energy facilities will shorten the war, while Russia insists it will only harden their resolve. In conclusion, the story of Ukraine striking 60 Russian energy objects in 6 weeks is not just about explosions and fire. It is about strategy, adaptation, and determination. The exterior shows a landscape of burning refineries and disrupted power stations. The interior reveals Ukraine's calculated plan to hit Russia where it hurts most economically and psychologically. The performance demonstrates remarkable growth in Ukraine's ability to conduct long-range warfare. The safety dimension reminds us of the risks involved, the unique selling points highlight why this operation stands out in modern history, and the price underscores the sacrifices and dangers all sides are enduring. Ultimately, this record-setting campaign reflects the shifting nature of 21st-century warfare, where drones, economics, and psychology intertwine with missiles and firepower. It reminds the world that Ukraine is not only surviving but also shaping the battlefield far beyond its borders. Whether this strategy will bring victory, escalation, or negotiation remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the war has entered a new phase, and the world is watching closely.